Hi, I'm Nathaniel Bikos. So this is my final presentation. I'm going to be talking about the westernization of Japan during the Meiji Restoration. So introduction. Throughout the years, the west and east sides of the hemisphere have influenced each other to create the cultures that they both have today. So one of the influences I wanted to highlight is the westernization of Japan under the Meiji rule, which took place between 1852 and 1912. So under this rule, Japan faced a huge culture shift due to the influence of Western countries. So, what Meiji did during his restoration. So, due to economic and political problems, Meiji wanted to modernize and model the West on some aspects of life, including the government reforms, military changes, changes to professional attire, increases in education, and wanted to remove the castle system. So in the pictures here, we can see like the original military in the picture of the samurai, the castle system in the middle, and the old professional attire. And now we can see how that's changed to the clothes that he wanted to wear, the new army, and even like the haircut. So military. So originally, Japan's military were samurai, which are unique to any other country. So the samurai had Bushido teachings, is which uh, how they basically lived. So here on the right, we have the Bushido Code. So what they did is they followed by integrity, respect, courage, honor, compassion, honesty, and loyalty. And it's very unique compared to any other military in the world. And they also had special traditions that only they followed. One unique one is called seppuku. So basically, rather than getting captured, they would kill themselves with their short blade. And so that it was just a way of honor, which just made the samurai like unique compared to any other military in the world. And then the weapons they had a katana and a short blade seen here. So then change in the military. So in 1868, Meiji wanted to modernize the military to be like the West. And as the world was modernizing, the samurai were no longer thought of as efficient enough of a military to compete with countries from the West. So as times were going by, the West got more advanced and they were starting to have guns, which uh were just a lot more efficient than the samurai who just had swords. And so this would end up improving Japan's military, but also taking away Japanese tradition. That would mean no Bushido teachings. They would lose their tradition, and they would no longer have katanas, and they would have guns. Now, the effect on the samurai. So, this affected the samurai because, like, post change, they found it hard to change their lifestyle. A lot of them went broke and were struggling to live. And here's a story by Musui, who kind of explains this. So, he used to be a samurai and then experienced the change of before and after the samurai. So let's read his story. So this part says, challenging students from rival schools was going to be a regular occupation. Night after night, I roamed the streets with my followers in tow. Every so often, just to keep them in their place, I took them to the home of the master Hirayama Shiru to hear him tell stories of heroes of China and Japan. My foolishness was dragging me deeper into debt. I wouldn't stop, even then, and borrowed money with no prospect of being able to repay. I was 21 and penniless. I had no choice but to sell my everyday sword. The Morimitsu I brought 41 ryo from the dealer, Ariario Kumiyaman. The last moment, I couldn't bear to part with it. Even to make an appearance at the commissioner's house, I had only the clothes on my back. To take my mind off my woes, I went to the Koshiwara. So, basically, as we can see from the story, Mushi was struggling to change his lifestyle post no longer being a samurai. So, like we said before, he was broke. He was had to borrow money and had to end up selling the sword. So, to the samurai, the sword is very honorable and it's a tradition that's like often passed down. The sword's usually passed down from a generation from father to son. So, it's a big deal when they have to end up selling it. And so then this call is for a culture conflict. And we can then watch a YouTube video or a quick clip from the movie The Last Samurai to see this conflict. Show you how I'm using run these AI tools when I'm feeling I do a lot of copywriting at work. Which we follow. So then we can see from the video that the samurai and the old army are having a battle. So the samurai are struggling post change and they wanted to keep their traditions with the Bushido and stuff of the samurai, change causing conflict, changing culture. And it caused the samurai rebellion shown in the video. The video basically shows how the samurai were rebelling against the army and how they wanted to keep their old tradition basically. And but in the end, they did end up losing and keeping their Meiji army. There you go. And so another change that Meiji had implemented was having government reforms and removing of the castle system. So Meiji also wanted to, along with military, Meiji also wanted to replicate uh the Western government. So what he did was he centralized the government around the highest figure, which for Japan being the emperor, and ended up removing the castle system. So here below we can see the castle system. At the top, having the emperor, shogun, samurai, and all the way at the bottom being merchants. And so what this did was basically open up more opportunity for the Japanese people. And along with that, they put more focus on industrialization. Their oh, sorry, their culture started to revolve more around money, and they put more emphasis on education. Became more important, more of a focus. And so the next change that we see from Meiji is the personal attire and government settings. And so what he did was he wanted to make them look more like the West. So in these pictures, in the left we have what was the original haircut. So from what we see from this man, his hair is tied back and it's put in kind of a bun. So this was seen as more professional back then or before Meiji came into place. And now we can see with this guy's haircut. This guy is from I guess more modern Japan, but this is basically what I wanted people's haircuts to look like. So we can see his hair is more uptight, or not uptight, but in the front, maybe even covering his forehead a bit. but it looks basically just more Western-like, and that's what you wanted. And then at the bottom, he also wanted to change the personal attire of the clothes. And we can just see this in Maji himself, as the left is Maji before, and then to the right is after. So, on the left, we can see Maji, really baggy, traditional Japanese clothes. From the shoes, the pants, even I wouldn't even say shirt. And then he's wearing this long hat. And so then, later on, we can look at Maji how he's changed to more Western of a look. From his shirt, pant, everything's more fitted. Even his hair, he no longer has a hat. It just demonstrates how the change and the attire during his rule. So, conclusion. In conclusion, the West has influenced Japan to change parts of their culture, like their military, government, and personal attire. This shows how the West has impacted the East and how cultures have been exchanged to influence each other. So in the past, present, and future, countries will take inspiration from each other to try to and improve on themselves, which is why it's so important to promote diversity and accept different cultures. So that's the end of my presentation.